Hello there! Welcome back to Melanie Loves Death Metal. Gonna do a regular death metal collection update today. It's gonna be all vinyl, which I have not done in a long time. But I just recently bought a bunch of vinyl. Finally, I've been doing some hole filling here. And then there's one record store day release that I finally got into my collection. I am just organizing my desk right now and making sure that I don't spill my Fresca that I currently just opened right before I recorded this, because that would be very bad. I've got a lot of electronics and media here that I don't want it to get ruined. Anyway, a lot of new vinyl that I finally got in. It's been a while since I've just done like a huge vinyl purchase, and I did that a couple of weeks ago. I finally just bit the bullet and I got some stuff that I've been wanting on vinyl for a long time. Some stuff that I've had on tapes and CDs, and then, vinyl. It's the format that I prefer. Somebody asked me that a while ago. That is the format that I actually prefer. I prefer to collect vinyl. However, the prices are often horrible. Well, not horrible, but, it's more expensive to buy vinyl in bulk. So I've been slowing down on it lately. So let's go ahead and get started. The first three are directly from Hell's Headbangers. I admittedly didn't see that they repressed these until I saw Justin's video pretty much promoting them. But this is definitely one of my favorite death metal bands. Probably one of the best death metal bands in my honest opinion in regards to their earlier works. I'm not a huge fan of their later albums that they have out, but that is not to say that I just haven't listened to them in a really long time, so I should definitely go back and revisit them because maybe my taste has changed a little bit in regards. But their first three albums are simply iconic, and I just really wanted them. And when I saw that they were still available on vinyl format, I snagged them. So that is none other than Christian from Brazil. So Brazilian death metal here. I got the first three albums. So the first one is Black Forest Domain, which was always my favorite for a long time. These are really, really nice pressings too. So if you saw his video, you saw that he showed these splatters and these picture disc versions. I had a really hard time trying to figure out which one I wanted to get because I'm not a big picture disc person, but they looked really cool. But I went with the splatters. So it's this really nice gatefold. These are really nice, by the way. So if you're looking for these, they're still available. Gatefold there. Awesome picture. So yeah, Christian is a Brazilian death metal band, three brothers that put it together, and these first three albums are just iconic. They came out in the later 90s, so this one was out in 95, and then the second one was 98. So a 90s death metal band, later 90s death metal band that I feel like often doesn't get talked about enough, especially with Sepultura just being one of the bigger name house names from that area. But these are phenomenal records. So for this one, I got the red and black splatter, which looks amazing, and it matches the cover really well. And they sound great. I listened to these already as soon as I got them. These are limited to 400, but like I said, they still have them in stock. So if you're looking for them, they're still available, and I think the picture discs are still available too. The picture discs are limited to 100. And for the longest time, these were hard to find on vinyl, and they were super expensive to get off Discogs. People were just ripping you off on price. So this is some great underground death metal. Definitely worth it if you're a fan, especially the Brazilian death metal scene. So this is the first one that I got. Naturally, I got the other two. So the second album, Apocalyptic Revelation. I love this album too, but again, it's not my favorite of the three, but this is one that I still listen to quite frequently. So this one came out a couple years after Black Forest Domain. Again, another gatefold. This doesn't have the embossed shininess on here, but it's still a very nice gatefold of some cool pictures and lyrics, and then the iconic pentagram on the back. And then this is a really nice orange splatter that goes really well with the cover. So they're really nice. Really, really nice quality. Again, I couldn't pass these up. As soon as I saw that video, I don't know how I didn't see this. I don't always see the announcements, and when they send their distro list of basically what's been added to the shop, the emails that they send, I admittedly don't always look at them. I'm so bad about that stuff, especially since the email is like 1,000 things long. And if I'm not particularly looking for something specifically at that time, I don't always look at the emails. So, and I missed the Instagram post about this. So, a good thing that Justin talked about these and showed them off on his YouTube channel, because now I have them. And then finally, the third album, which immediately is probably one of my other favorite ones I listen to the most, Conquerors of Armageddon. God, I listened to this the other day digitally before I got the vinyl, and just really remembered how much I love these albums. Again, their later albums, which I think their last album, let me just look at my notes really quick, came out in 2018. And then they were in a little bit of a long stint there. There's their first one in 8 years. So then they had 2011, 2008, 2006. They released other albums, and then 2004, 2003. So they have several albums past these first three. This is 2000 era's death metal, but it sounds good. I think it's phenomenal record. This is the last one that I really enjoyed. Again, there are other ones I think I just really need to re-listen to and get more of a taste for, especially now that, you know, I'm dedicating so much of my time to only listening to death metal. At the time of these coming out, I was heavily involved with thrash metal, which we will get to that in just a second. So this is a swirl, an orange and brown swirl, which goes really well with the cover too. So the aesthetics of this that they did are really good. So whoever designed these, good job. That was awesome. You guys did a good job for these. Really nice quality. They sound great. And again, just some classic death metal records that I always say are a must to have in your collection. Good stuff. So that was the three hole fillers that I got that I wanted to show off. Next is 3 more hole fillers, which really aren't hole fillers because I do own them on tape. Corpse Gristle just pressed these in a special box set last year, and then I think he still has individual tapes available. So if you're looking for the tapes, I'm pretty sure these are still available. But given that this is one of my favorite death metal bands, and I have some of their other vinyl, I wanted to start to get my favorite albums on vinyl as well. So that tape box set that I have might be going up for grabs fairly soon. Sorry. I have one of those Ring doorbells, and it like goes off, and I just want to make sure I have a UPS package coming today of something really fun. So I don't want to miss them because I have to sign for it. So yeah, I picked up some Immolation vinyl. I got these all off of Discogs, and they were recent Metal Blade repressings that were done, I don't know, a couple years ago that I completely missed out on. So I saw them on Discogs for decent prices finally, but these people are selling these at ridiculous prices. So I snagged them as soon as I saw them. I think one of them came internationally, so it took a while to get here. I was waiting for it to get here. So the first one that I got is obviously their second album, Here in After. Admittedly, this one for the longest time was my favorite Immolation album, and then I started really digging more down into their discography. And I wouldn't say this one is really my favorite one anymore. It's definitely one of the better ones, but I really do like Atonement. I think Atonement is amazing. And then Failure to Gods, which I'm about to show. So this is the transparent red version that came out. Like I said, Metal Blade did a repressing. It looks like it was limited to 500 copies, and I know that these are pretty much sold out. I have not been able to find these in record stores, on Discogs for certain record stores that I follow. And then some random, did Red Scroll randomly post this? I think it was a second-hand item, so they must have bought it off of somebody. And it just popped up. It was in my wanted list, so it's a little bit, got a couple of corner dings and stuff, but you know, that stuff doesn't really bother me too much as long as it's intact and the vinyl listens and it's still in really great condition. It does come with this massive poster of the album cover, which I'm not going to unfold because it's a pain in the ass to show on a camera because it's so big. And then a printed inner sheet of lyrics and liner notes. So again, this is, I guess you could consider a hole filler for my vinyl collection. I've owned this obviously on other formats for a long time, but I saw this when the pricing is right and the opportunity presents itself and I'm able to buy it, I'm going to buy it. So this was definitely one of those scenarios, along with the next two that I'm about to show. So, all right. So that is Here and After. Again, I don't think I need to explain to you guys these albums at all. And if you're new to Immolation, their first 4 albums are just simply phenomenal, but they have a pretty good discography in general. Their newest album is pretty good too. A little bit longer, I guess you could say. I think some of their albums can get a little bit longer. If they cut a couple songs off, it'd be perfect death metal. So the next one obviously is Failure for Gods, and you're going to see the price. Yes, I paid only $25 for this. So again, it's just an amazing deal. This is okay. So it says on here it was a 2017 pressing on red transparent vinyls. There is a couple of dings and stuff. So this one is not in as good a condition as that last one, and I don't remember the seller that I got this from. I never bought from them, but it does have a little bit of jaggedness to the jacket there. But again, in general, it's in good enough condition for me. I mean, some people might not enjoy that. That's really what they were talking about for the dings. But again, I missed out on these repressings, unfortunately. So, and I got lucky that I was able to get them from sellers that were not trying to rip you off, which is nice. So nice printed inner sheet. Now this one for a long time, I wasn't I had swore that Here and After was my favorite, but this one the more I've listened to it over time, I absolutely love this album. The sound on it is not nearly as good. The production quality is a little bit off, but I guess at the time of listening to it, I just was excited for new Immolation. So, and that still sticks. Definitely still sticks. So this is also red transparent. So again, I was not trying to look for colors. I just wanted the represses. And if black is available, I'll grab it. I don't care. But these were available for a good price, so I couldn't pass it up. So I rarely find these good finds on Discogs. They don't come naturally to me, unfortunately. For a lot of the things that I'm looking for, I often have to spend a little bit more than what I would want. Not too much. I don't go crazy. But for these, I was like, oh my god, that's incredible. I have to get these. So that, and then this final one. This one came from, it's right there in my mind. I have to say it really quickly. Let me look. I gotta tell you how great of a price this was, because I couldn't believe it. Transcending Records has a Discogs, and they had this on their Discogs with free shipping. $27 free shipping. So I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna grab this one. I'll throw this in the cart too. So this one is probably one of my all-time favorites, close to A World Below. I think a lot of people are going to agree with me on this one. It's just plain black vinyl, as you can see, which is totally fine. $27 free shipping for something that's been repressed and is pretty much sold out. And people are selling it for stupid prices. And it was brand new, sealed, never opened. So it is a brand new vinyl. Doesn't smell like anything. Some people do that on videos, so I thought I would try it out. This also comes with a huge poster. Is it actually yeah, it's actually a double-sided poster. So it's the naked lady front image of Jesus on a cross, and then this bloody dove on the other side. So I like posters that come with vinyl, but I don't usually ever hang them. I mean, for a while I was hanging them, but for the most part they just live in the jacket. But I know some people are really gung-ho about that. A nice printed inner sheet with some lyrics. And then again, just plain black vinyl, so I'm not going to pull it out. But I do like the liner sleeve that Metal Blade has. They're often nice, and it's better than just those shitty dust covers that you often get with vinyls. I do get those MoFi, however you pronounce it, anti-static sleeves. And I often immediately move my vinyl out of the normal sleeves that come in and then I put those in those sleeves, but I'm actually out. I have to do another order. So, but thankfully the Metal Blade Records inner sleeves aren't too bad. They don't usually create a whole lot of static. So that's a new thing for me, by the way. That's a new vinyl snob thing that I just recently started to do. I never cared about that stuff before until now. So I don't know, just from being so addicted to all the YouTube vinyl channels that I watch, it kind of got me more into the whole audiophile, taking care of your equipment stuff. So, all right, so those are the 3 death metal hole fillers that I got. Stuff I've been wanting on vinyl for a long time. Next up is the Record Store Day release that I got. So Record Store Day, I don't ever participate in it unless there's something that comes out that I absolutely want, and it just so happens this year and then last year, Opeth released 2 of the records that I did not have on vinyl that were out of press, hard to find, super expensive. So I missed out on, I went to 4 stores on Record Store Day, and the final one that I went to saw a guy in line holding this. It was the only copy they had. I was super bummed, but I knew if I waited, eventually the overstock of what wasn't sold would go up on Discogs, whether it be in the US or across the sea. And that's exactly what happened. I think about 8 o'clock that night, as I'm consistently refreshing and looking at the new postings, a record store up in Spain posted it for $50 total. So for the vinyl plus shipping, which was phenomenal because I was hearing and seeing that this was selling for $45 in the store. Some people were selling it for $50. So I thought to myself, I should just snag this now rather than trying to see if a US store will post it, because at the end of the day, it's probably going to end up being the same price. I'm just going to have to wait a little bit longer. So I ended up just buying it, and I'm glad that I did, because I've been tracking this out of my own curiosity and suffering to see if I made a mistake, and I did not make a mistake. People are selling this for ridiculous costs. They're getting snagged up super fast when they are good prices. So again, Opeth, My Arms, Your Hearse. Finally have this on vinyl. This is probably one of my favorite Opeth albums. I don't say is my favorite Opeth album, because my favorite Opeth album is no doubt Blackwater Park. But this is definitely one of my favorites, one that I listen to often. So this is that Record Store Day release. I think it was limited to like 1,500 worldwide, which is a lot of pressings. But again, those Record Store Day releases they're hot commodities now. Especially if you listen to other music. Like, I know there was a Taylor Swift 7-inch that people were losing their minds over. And still, like now, I think it's selling for an insane price. So this is this color version. I don't remember what it's called. It goes really well, though, with the cover. So it's like a bone white with, like, purple swirl. So it looks really nice. So I finally got this in, and again, here's that shitty dust cover I was talking about. I'm going to trade these out for the Mophie sleeves as soon as I get them in the mail, which I am patiently waiting on. And then the other one has different coloration, otherwise I wouldn't show you. But this one definitely looks nicer, in my opinion. It has more of the purple swirl in there. So, otherwise I wouldn't have showed you both. So there you go. I got it. I got what I was set out to get. I also got the Judas Priest one that I showed in my Record Store Day video. It's a gatefold. Ta-da! This came out on Candlelight, and then Spine Farm. So I don't know. These might just be sitting in your local record shop. I don't know. So if you're still looking for this, you might be able to find it. If you try to get it on eBay, you're going to spend at least $100. That's cheap as I've seen it on there. On Discogs, I checked again recently, and I think the cheapest one I saw on there was $70, and it was a store out in the UK. So the reason why it was $70 is because the shipping was so expensive. Luckily, Spain, in this store that I bought from, didn't overcharge me on shipping. It was relatively decent. I think it was like $10, and I thought to myself, sometimes I pay $10 for just a normal record on some sites here in the US because that's just what they charge. So, again, I'm super happy about this. I need to spin it though. I haven't spun it yet, so it's coming. And then finally, the last thing I want to show is admittedly a blind buy. So this was on Red Scroll, now that I'm thinking about it. Red Scroll is an amazing store in Connecticut. I used to live in Connecticut. I used to live in New Haven for several years before I moved down to Florida. Yes, I'm from Chicago. I've moved around a lot. Hey, college and stuff that happens. So I got this, and I haven't listened to it yet. I haven't even heard the single that's come out yet. It was a blind buy. I saw it. I think it was $25, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get it because I have everything else by this band. So this is one of those, I have everything else, and I want to maintain the collection. kind of thing. I think a lot of people understand what I'm saying by that, especially with Dark Throne. I think a lot of people I saw, they bought the newer Dark Throne release just because they have all the other Dark Throne albums, and just to keep it going. So I get that. I do. With Dark Throne, I don't have the newest release, and I don't have about 6 other albums in between. Seriously, like I probably won't ever. Just it's ridiculous how much they have out there. This band is quite up there. Let me see, actually, how many albums are they on now? Which album number is this? I have a mix of their vinyl and their CDs. So their CDs are ones that I got are their first albums that I got, and then their vinyls are their more recent represses, and then I think their first one. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's their 9th album. Wow. Okay. Anyway, the new Meshuggah album, Immutable, is that right? Yeah, Immutable. This just came out. This is limited to 2,500 copies. Red transparent. They made a ton of copies. This was on Atomic Fire, which I'm not too familiar with, and I originally was seeing the prices for this to be ridiculous, but I think that there's some US versions that are come down. Anyway, Red Skull had it. It was brand new, never opened. I obviously opened it and put it into a normal sleeve. I don't remember which one that I got. I forgot what. I think it's like red, just Red Inferno. Yeah, it's just plain red. It's a double LP, and it is a gatefold with a poster. I'm not going to unfold it, of the album cover, and that's it. Anything else? The other LP is just red, so I'm not going to bother pulling that out. I'll show you the gatefold, which is nothing special, just some lyrics and liner notes. That's about it. And this is pretty much about what you get from Meshuggah albums. I have several other of their vinyl. I have Colossus, Obzin, and the Violent Sleep of Reason are the ones I have on vinyl. And then Catch 33, Nothing, Chaos Sphere, Destroy, Erase, Improve, and then Contradictions Collapse I all have on CD. But when I was at Mojo Bookstore and Records here in Tampa, I noticed that they had a lot of those on vinyl. So they must have been represses that were just done recently. And so that was tempting. I've thought about that ever since, and have thought to myself, man, I should go back and grab those, because I wouldn't mind having those earlier Meshuggah albums on vinyl, because I think that they're incredible. I love Meshuggah. I think they're an incredible band. They're very talented. I do agree that their newer stuff from Colossus onto this one, I'm assuming it does all sound similar. They kind of stopped reinventing the wheel there a little bit, but they're still very super talented. I totally understand, Meshuggah's not for everybody. There's a lot of people that really just don't like their music. But for me, I've always really enjoyed this band. They're incredible live. If you ever can go see them live, definitely do it. Obzin obviously has always been one of my favorite albums. Chaos Sphere is what introduced me to Meshuggah, and that has always been what I've said to be my favorite album. It has been a really long time since I've listened to those albums. Obzin I recently just did, and I still love it. But some of the older ones, like Nothing, I haven't listened to that in forever. So I kind of want to do a Meshuggah discography ranking and binge on this, but I'm going to hold off on that until after this Friday. And the reason for that is because this Friday, tomorrow, I should say, I'm going back on Marty Worm's YouTube channel for his live stream, Heavy Metallurgy live stream with Alan from Let's Talk Metal. We're going to be talking our thrash favorites. And this is thrash favorites as a whole, 80s, 90s, modern thrash. It's not specific to a time era, although I have a funny feeling that Marty and Alan will probably have a lot of the old school 80s thrash. And for the sake of that reason, and for the sake of the conversation, I'm sure we'll have a lot of duplicates, because of course we will. But I've been pulling for the last couple of days some of the newer thrash that I have in my collection that I still think is phenomenal. So I'm definitely going to make sure to talk through those on that stream as well. But a little bit of a background, and I'll probably talk about this on the stream on Friday. Thrash metal for the longest time was my favorite metal genre. I was addicted to it, especially in high school. That was really when I got super into it. It was some of the first metal I ever heard. I mean, obviously Metallica, Anthrax, but when I got into high school and when I got a job in a car, I was able to drive to record stores in my area. and especially into the city of Chicago. And those record stores were phenomenal because they would have the sections listed out within the specific metal genres. It wouldn't just be metal as a whole. It would be, here's the thrash metal section, here's the death metal section, here's hardcore, punk, here's heavy metal, stuff like that. And it was awesome because I became obsessed with thrash after I first heard Metallica, obviously, and then Overkill was what really put me over the edge. And so I would go to this store specifically in Joliet, Illinois. And again, I'm going to go into detail probably about this on Friday too, but just in case you don't watch the stream. And I would go into this store and I would blind buy these albums based off of the name of the band and the record, the album cover. And it was obscure stuff, like, at the time. It was stuff that was imported, and so they were expensive CDs. Like, I think I was spending like $40 at some time. And then, like, I'm 16 years old. I just got my first ever job. This is the only source of income I have, and I would blow 1 week's worth of paycheck of like $100 on 2 CDs. Like, I think about that now, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I would buy these CDs. I unfortunately sold off a lot of those CDs when I moved out of my parents' house and went away and was living on my own and wanted some extra income. And I thought the CD format was starting to die because digital was really starting to come into play around that time. I mean, not a lot, but it was there, and I was already getting involved with it. So I sold them. And now, thinking back, I would completely regret it. So there's a lot of albums that I don't have anymore, but there's a lot of albums that I've slowly been getting back ever since I started collecting again. So I'm really excited for the thrash conversation on Friday. I'm hoping I can hang with them. I know that they've got a very strong, diverse repertoire when it comes to these metal genres. They've obviously been collecting for a lot longer than I have, but I'm glad that they invited me back for this because, again, thrash metal has always been one of my favorite genres. I know a lot of people say thrash is dead right now, but I do try to hunt for newer bands and listen to it. Unfortunately, I have a hard time finding some stuff that I enjoy. So if you know of any newer thrash bands, definitely shoot them my way because I would love to continue on with that. But for the most part, I've been digging out all the old ones, so I'll probably start doing a Thrashing Thursday series on here and start talking about some of that stuff because, again, I really love that genre. So thank you guys for all the support. I'm going to try to get a video up tomorrow. I'm no promises because tomorrow's a crazy day for me. But yeah, make sure to join Marty's stream tomorrow night. It'll be a good time. It's always a good time. And yeah, I will see you in the next one.